Another late one. I mean, actually, not even that late. I mean, 7:30. It's just getting it's actually getting close to wintry now. I mean, 7:30 in the summertime. The sun may as well be all the way freaking up. But yeah, I was getting a couple comments back. Sam, it's not technically winter until I'm not exactly sure when until. So technically, I think the first few weeks of this winter Shredathon were actually a little bit premature. But what am I supposed to do? Call it the fall Shredathon and then switch it? I was gonna plan it ahead because I know I'm gonna be dieting into next year. But plan for today with legs. I really want to thrash them, and not thrash them purely based on intensity, but also make sure I hit it in every fucking way imaginable. So there's a seated leg curl here, laying curl, RDLs, primarily by Smith machine, I think, maybe cable, and then quads. I'm thinking leg extensions, leg press. Oh goodness, leg press. Some kind of probably shoulder loaded something or other, maybe a Smith machine squat, maybe something we'll have to see. Potentially some sissy squat variation, superset at the end, as well as a little bit of adductor work too. I've been adding calves after my cardio, just like, kind of a couple sets, get a little bit of a calf pump here and there. Nothing like insane, but I think I might want to add calves a little bit as well. I might see, because that gets pretty long. I mean, a full leg day, hamstrings, adductors, quads, calves as well. I mean, that could be 2 legit hours. Now, that doesn't mean 2 hours of pure grinding, but if every set takes you a minute to do, you got to move weight around, you got to rest in between. I mean, I wouldn't put it past like a really full top to bottom leg day, a 2-hour thing. But that's hitting everything with full, 8 sets of each body part kind of situation. Because if you did hamstrings, adductors, quads, and calves, 8 sets of everything, I mean, dude, that's 32 sets. Each one of those would only have to take an average of like 3.5 minutes, and then you hit that 2-hour mark. Which some guys are going to say, if you're in the gym for more than an hour, it's because you're not even working. It's because the sets that you're doing aren't even intense. Which I would usually say that's sort of a little bit too much of a blanket statement to be actually accurate. But there is a good sentiment there. If you're really killing it, like if I just had chest, I don't think I would ever need to do a chest day that would exceed an actual hour of working sets. Like, not counting the warm-up, not counting getting ready, from first working set to last working set, when I say, okay, I'm fully pumped, that is not an hour. That's 45 minutes. That's like even 30 if I'm going a little bit quicker, or maybe I do my sets with like some extra drop sets and like assisted past failure reps with a spotter or something. 30-minute chest day, that's about right. So usually I'd say with one muscle group at a time, by the time you've done a hard set, minute, 2 minutes of rest, done it again, moved on, maybe had a couple minutes in between like some of your heavier movements, like I don't know exactly how it came up, but I never call, like some guys will describe their workouts, they say I do 3 chest workouts in my chest workout. Like I do an incline bench workout, I do a cable fly workout, and I do a pec deck workout. So they're calling like a grouping of sets a workout. Usually I would call that a movement. And neither of us are like wrong. It's just sometimes that confuses me. So usually when I talk about a regular lift, in between sets of the same movement, so be it leg extension, Smith machine squats, leg press, whatever. Once I'm onto that movement, rest periods shouldn't be too long. I mean, minute, 2 minutes, like enough to breathe, but then do it again. But between movements, like unracking all the plates off the leg extension and then moving on to the a leg curl or the leg extension, taking all the plates off a leg press, then moving to a leg extension, then moving to a hamstring curl. In between those movements, that's when I'll have a little bit of a longer rest period. But for the most part, when anybody asks me, Sam, how many minutes are you resting between sets? Dude, no more than 2. usually. Now with something like shoulders, like if I was just aiming for kind of a light shoulder pump, I might not even rest a minute. I might just stand there, kind of pump out some side laterals, but that's just because I'm not trying to kill my shoulders. But something like leg press, I mean, if I load some plates on the leg press and I'm pumping out legit sets, I mean, that could be 4 minutes in between each one of those to actually kind of catch my breath, because there's a certain point to the rest period, right? And I think a good way to think about it is just pure reoxygenation. And what I mean by that isn't, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that happens. There's like lactic acid, there's fiber, whatever, there's electrolyte path. But in a basic sense, if I sit here and I totally wreck my biceps in one set, I've got to breathe enough to reoxygenate all that kind of area, whatever, that just got really fatigued, bring it back to a regular, or at least reasonably fresh level, so I can do another set. Do the same thing, repeat, until, you know, I'm fully pumped, I feel like I'm fully fatigued, and I've had a fully stimulating workout. But with quads, I mean, it's literally the biggest muscle on your body. It's going to take a little longer. So whenever you're on a topic of rest periods, you know, don't just follow it. Well, I'm not going to say it's wrong, but I think it's going to be a better approach to say, all right, I'm going to approach my rest period for something like squats or something like really crazy heavy bench a little differently. And by crazy heavy, I mean like just a heavy set of like 9 or 8. I'll approach that a little differently than I would maybe a set of adductors or a set of rear delt flies, because those, your whole system of recovery, like your lungs, you'll be able to breathe and kind of recover your rear delts much faster than your quads on something like an actual squat compared to just a face pull. So it's a case by case basis. But 7:41 now. They close at 9:30. I drank half my pre already, and I'm going to drink the other half once I park, because I kind of want the caffeine to hit me a little bit later. So by the time I'm out of quads, I'm still feeling fully caffeinated. But by the time I get there in 5 or 6 minutes, unload all the stuff, I think I'll have more than enough time for a complete workout. But one more thing before I actually kill it. And by kill it, I just mean kill the camera. I'll see if I kill it in the gym, right? I would hope so. But if you do have to rush, when I say something about, like, I could get a 30-minute chest workout in, dude, I think you can. If you've really only got 30 minutes, like, let's say you could do the gym 5 days a week, 30 minutes, like, you're going to park, change, get ready for whatever, like, I think that's enough time, And for somebody like that, I would say maybe start with some light squeezing sets and then work your way up into a few heavier sets mid-workout, and then ease back down to some kind of finisher and roll. And the point of that would be, you can't waste your time warming up. So instead of starting with a crazy heavy weight you might not be ready for, I could see the benefit in starting with like some flies, then some machine press, some cable flies again, and then roll them. But that's that probably needs its own talk to really get into there about workout timing. I just, for whatever reason, I just want to get that out there. But I'm going to get amped up, warm up my calves, hamstrings, a little bit of adductors, so that they feel good when I get onto the laying hamstring curl, which I think is going to be movement number 1. And then we'll go from there. And hopefully by the end of it, and I say hopefully in a very eager tone, I mean, something would have to fucking happen. There'd have to be a strong outside source or impact of some variety to prevent me from getting an insane leg pump tonight. Now all I have to do is actually make it happen. So let's get started. Starting to get all ready, but I think some alternating single leg reps will be a perfect starter. Not too heavy, not too light, just somewhere right in the middle. Actually, I'll just do all failure one at a time. Oh my God. Now, one more at least. Oh my God. Tables, a little platform to stand on so I can actually get a good stretch. I like this so much more than a regular barbell. I can just squeeze it better. I mean, that's kind of as complicated as I have to explain it. Come on. Oh, yeah. A little wobbly. Yeah. Oh, one more at least. Maybe two even. Ish. Oh, one more. Oh, God. Oh. Let's finish with one more set of leg curls. Laying, though. I like the feeling more than the seated one. One more double leg set. Nasty for the first few, then I'll make a drop set. Oh, we okay. Okay. Whew. Yeah. I'd say that's time for quads. Hams are just about perfectly cooked. This is my easing into quads first movement. Classic ASS leg extension. So, single leg. I think I'll just do full failure on either side because I'm not going crazy heavy. So, first 10 or so, I want like at least a very noticeable moment hold at the top. And as I get weaker, so I won't be able to do that hold anymore, I'll still try to force out some, maybe use a little body language, maybe swing a little, but all for the sake of really trying to get every last drop out of each of my quads as possible. So one more sip and then we make this shit happen. And this isn't even, well, half the stack single leg, but weight that I would say is well within reason. Left side first. A little heavier for this next one. Oh my Ooh. Let's get some leg press going. Not my prettiest set ever, of course, but quad fatigue, that was a good one. Zero doubt about it in my mind. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. This feels about right. I know I can get this for at least 12 reps. And on every one, I want to bring it deep enough where at least I know I'm right about at that safety height, which you would probably not catch me do a leg press this heavy on a leg press that does not have a little safety feature like this one. Because frankly, I don't know if I trust, even one or two guys to sit here and like pull hundreds of pounds if I fail a rep and get smushed. But since I have the safety, near zero fear, because I know I'm not going to get killed if I actually fail at the last rep. So
all that leaves for me is to really focus on making sure I go nuts. And it's the same with anything, you know. I mean, it's a little freaky to bench with a, you know, on incline, no spotter, no clips, no nothing. So usually safeties are, honestly, I wish safeties were more of a staple on incline barbell, but that's for a later date. So let me get excited and go crazy.
Like 150.
Oh. That was good. Oh, holy shit. So, I'm not sure how much weaker I'm going to be for the next one, because I want to get at least 8. What do you think? Can I get 8 with this? Yeah, I can do it. Not going to drop the weight yet. Whew. Oh. Oh. Oh my God. Ugh. Okay. Holy shit. Oh my God. Now do I do one more? Or do I move on? Let me breathe for a few seconds first. And then make that kind of decision. Shit. But can't hear you. Can't hear you. Go nuts. These first few will be nice and slow. Oh, holy crap. One more with 10 plates. Normal reps for this next one though. And then move on to something else. Or maybe that'll be it. Honestly, my quads are pretty much cooked. Oh boy. Oh my God. Oh. Ah. Oh. Okay. I think that's enough. Ugh. Holy shit. Okay. A few minutes have passed of me unloading all those plates. I think some squeezing reps just to finish it off will be perfect. And this is not even a set dedicated to like hitting total quad failure. I just really want to feel some burning, get a little more blood in here, and then scream. And frankly, even 70 pounds is too much. Gotta just do 50. Lamb of God really got that last set going nuts. No, okay, I can hit 70. You gotta cut to the good part. Okay. Okay. You already know what's next. No point to even fucking say it. Oh, God.
There we go. A few obligatory minutes of sitting in the car to kind of cool down. I've been getting spoiled the last couple of weeks. Honestly, not the last couple of weeks. The last few like months. The guys who close down the gym here, usually they've got like a 10-minute kind of leeway period before everybody really shuts it down. Must be a little behind the scenes move. 9:30, we are out. But that's okay. So I think lack of pump check was worth proper rest to make sure that all of those sets of leg press were really fucking nuts. Because in between sets of hamstrings, I mean, hamstrings took me 30 minutes. You know, hamstrings was like a 40-minute at most lift, and that was what? 2 sets of curls, 3 sets RDLs, and then 1 more set of curls at the end. So 6 sets. Quads was 2 leg extension, 4 leg press, 1 pumpish kind of set at the end, but that didn't really count as a working set. That was just kind of a pumpish little squeeze. So I won't count that one. So yeah, a little 6er for hams and quads today. And hamstrings was okay. Honestly, the hamstring pump was like pretty good, but quads was really killing it. There's a certain and I mean, I'm even depleted too, so the fact that I felt so pumped up out on those leg press was really good. But there's a certain feeling of having a real quad pump top to bottom that just can't really be oh my goodness it can't really be skipped to. You know, like it's a certain swellingness which Also just kind of comes with being a bit bigger. I mean, somebody who doesn't have massive quads or even like pretty big quads, a quad pump isn't going to be as abrupt and crazy. You know, it's all about kind of a percentage change. So even if my quads only get 5% more pumped, that's much more pumpedness than if someone whose quad was half the size got a 5% pump, if you kind of catch what I'm saying there. So a little spoiled with size kind of situation. But what I was trying to say was, having a really big quad pump, you get a certain weakness in your knees. You know, I'm talking right as I stand up after those sets of leg press, from being pretty close to completely burned out. I could probably do, I don't know. I should have had somebody help me and just pushed for one more on those 12 plate sets. The last one was good though, because that was actually, that one really hit a failure. But on all those sets, when I would stand up, like, if I had my knees bent a little bit as I was walking, and somebody just gave me like a push right behind the knee, like with their foot, you know how you like knock somebody over, dude, I would be on the fucking ground almost instantly. There'd be no saving it. So usually I say, there's two types of lifters, and that's across a variety of categories, right? There's the lifters who track their macros, the lifters who don't. There's the lifters who stay hydrated and lifters who won't. There's the lifters who skip legs and the lifters who don't. But there's also the lifters who actually kill it on legs, and the ones who just kind of, meander their way through it. And I know that you know the difference. Right? We all know there's a difference between doing some scrappy sets, not even approaching failure. Like, it can be a good set. Like, sure, you did they were hard reps. But if somebody goes onto a Smith machine and they're doing Smith squats and they do a 10 rep set and racket, and that 10th rep was the exact same speed and looked just as quick and easy as the first one, how many reps could that guy have done? I mean, I'll hear stories where guys, not like super advanced lifters, but year 1, year 2 kind of guys, where they're pushing each other on like pendulum squats. Like, this is a verbatim story I just heard last time I was at American Barbell. I was chatting with some of those guys for a while, and they were telling me they really got one of their bros fucking amped up for a set of pendulum squats. The guy wanted to rack it at 12 and he got 30. Now, that's not to say that it's easy to hit failure. Like, frankly, exerting yourself that hard is a skill that is to be worked up to. Like, the amount of let's just say, as close as I can physically get to how hard I can physically go has increased over time. And what I mean by that is, like, my motor recruitment is better. If somebody, if you put me on like a leg press when I had started lifting for 6 months and told me, okay, pick a weight where you can only get 12 reps, I'd have to go much lighter than I was really probably truly muscularly capable of, because I just couldn't exert myself that hard. So it is a skill to be worked up to, right? But it really just comes with uncomfort. Doing something hard once, getting over it, and then coming back to do it again, now that thing is fucking easy. I was talking to one of the guys in there how he was, he was telling me he got a new 1 rep max on his squat. But I was saying, like, honestly, there could be a little bit of utility in a 1 rep every so often if you do them frequently. Like, if you work up to them slowly, of course. If I tried to warm up to a 1 rep max on squats or bench or anything like that, because I haven't done lower than an 8 rep heavy set basically for the last like 3 or 4 years almost, I would probably almost guarantee rip both my quads off or both my pecs off. I'm not used to that much load. But if someone does do that, usually they're a little bit used to it. Like, they're not pushing themselves to a rep range that's out of the ordinary for their training. There is a certain skill of strength, because if I were to just do squeezing leg extensions for the next 2 months, now I'm in a deficit, so let's imagine I'm just maintaining. Like, I'm eating enough food to stay the same weight, I'm not cutting, I'm not bulking, staying the same weight. If for the next 2 months I only did really light squeezing sets of leg extensions, even if they were to failure, and then I tried to test my strength at the end of those 2 months, dude, I'm going to be way fucking weaker, because I haven't been exposed to really high loads. So you're not going to adapt to anything you don't get exposed to, right? So that's honestly half the reason why I'm not a massive fan of always doing like lighter squeezing sets, because there's a certain amount of muscular tension and like workload that guys like that miss out on. I really do think that there's a certain overall benefit to being a bit stronger over time, because all your lifts are going to improve. When I do heavy pressing for quads, I can go harder on leg extensions, I can go harder on sissy squats, I can go harder on all my, I guess you could say, accessory movements for quads instead of heavy loading stuff like squats or Smith squats, pendulum squats, whatever. Like anything that's not pressing related, having that pressing strength translates. So obviously, it's all about stimulation, and there is a point of diminishing returns. There's a reason why you don't see Chris Bumstead benching 200-pound dumbbells. There's a reason why you don't see these guys who are, even the open guys who are literally basically, not by weight, they're not 500 pounds, but just by looking, you'd say these guys are twice, if not like 3 times bigger than me. There's a reason why they don't need to bench or lift with weight 2 times heavier than I'm doing, because there really is a limit. Frankly, I don't think I'm ever going to need to bench over 150-pound dumbbells when I'm strong, or squat any more than even 5 plates is probably getting there. But I'm not going to get bigger legs if I manage to squat 6 instead of 5. But on your way up to a reasonable strength range, dude, the bigger you get, the stronger you get. And that's kind of pretty well coupled up to even, getting to like a 200, maybe 210 pound, 10-12% body fat kind of guy. So if you're within that range, like you're a 180-pound dude, you've been lifting for 3 years or so, there is a benefit, I think, to some heavy work in the beginning of your workouts, because not only is that going to be a good set, but if you push yourself on like a heavy set of bench or a heavy set of cable rows or whatever else, and you get a bit stronger over time, I do think it really translates, because then you'll be able to have mastery over lighter weights and really squeeze them with a lot more intention, so that's my thoughts there, right? Unless, barring injury, where I have to stay away from heavier loads, you're going to see some at least high intensity 8 to 12 rep sets, coupled with the lighter squeezing stuff in between to, really make sure I hit everything in every way imaginable. And that gets into like, there's just no fucking way there's no one method. There's no one type of set which is magically perfect, as much as we love saying it. And maybe this is just me, bro sciencey lifter guy, whatever. But there's no one lengthened partial squeezing myo rep set that is magically the most effective across the board for every body part. There's because don't forget, 90% of old school bodybuilder kind of lingo logic, like when guys will say your calves are a stubborn muscle group, or your shoulders respond to higher reps, or what, you don't need to curl 100-pound dumbbells for your biceps. Like bro science, which was basically just kind of condensed and found out through trial and error, dude, it ends up being right like 96% of the time, or 90 whatever percent of the time. It's because then 20 years later, new study, the calf fibers of your soleus longinus muscle actually respond higher to more frequent training than every other body part because of this or whatever. And it's like, okay, what changed? Sure, we've got this new study that's explaining it, but if we were already training in the right way before, nothing's changed. The explanation is just a little more accurate, right? So that's why I'm not so concerned with trying to keep up with the most updated, newest training methodology and tweaking my shit all the fucking time, because I haven't been, just thinking about it on my own personal level, that's not how I've gone about it. That's not what I've been doing to learn the way to train, to get the gains I've already got, right? I'm kind of sticking to, or at least over time, I've got to the point where now, heavy straight sets, throw in a superset, throw in a squeezing drop set on occasion, right? Get a pump, do as much work as necessary, try not to do too much, because there is a point where if I try to do an extra 5 sets of heavy leg press today, I don't think that would do me any good. And by any good, I mean it wouldn't give me any more quality stimulation than the 4 plus the leg extensions I did today. And that would just make sense. I mean, there's no, if you're hammering in a nail, 1, okay, it needs a little more. 2 needs a little more. Okay, 1 more good one. Boom, it's all the way in. And then maybe you get away with like, all right, 1 more for good measure. But if you just keep smacking it, okay, now you're denting the wall, you're overdoing it, and you're not getting anything out of it. Because there is a goal to be achieved each lift, and that's to reach a certain level of fatigue in a bodybuilding fashion, higher rep sets. And I'm not talking 4 to 6 or anything. You get the gist there, where you're pumped, you're stimulated, you're fatigued, you had a good workout, you know it. Then you had your workout and you're done. You got to move on. So it's that's kind of what I'm really focusing on. And frankly, I'm not even referencing the dieting, the sleeping, hydration side of things. Making sure you're hitting all your micronutrients, take your multivitamin, try to eat some red meats. Honestly, higher red meat intake, I notice a difference. I kind of just feel better, man. That was kind of a while ago. I was on a real long stint of like lots of protein powder on the daily, which I don't think was absolutely horrible. I mean, it is protein, like it does have all these essential amino acids, whatever else, but it's definitely not the same. It's not the same as real, actual animal protein. I think we all know that. Now, that's not to say don't have a protein drink if you haven't had lunch and there's one in the vending machine. Like, I think that's fine, but most of your foods should be coming from more direct, plain sources. And so I'm not even getting into anything like that, but just with the training itself, it's like, dude, we know what is going to improve your results. More intensity, right? The harder you train, the better you're going to fucking grow. If I came into the gym today and I did like half the weight, I could probably explain it away somehow. If I wanted to come off as training hard, I could say, well, guys really just are forcing the weight if they do a heavy set, like above 5 plates. So, and then I like pretend to hit failure at like 8 reps. Like I can pretend to be screaming and stuff. It's like, dude, no, man. And I know there's a lot of guys like that. And I'm not necessarily actually blaming you either. And not you. I know you train like a demon. I'm talking about everybody else. But there is a certain level of, get back to what I was saying about how the guys hit legs, don't hit legs, and then the culture, the percentage that really hit legs. And there's a big stepping stone from each of those dudes. Because I'm not trying to knock on anybody specifically, because obviously if you've been working out for 3 months, dude, you're still working on it, But if you've lifted for long enough where you do have a good, solid grasp on what you're doing, then you know it. You know the rules at this point, right? It's like you can't blame somebody who just, their first week on the fucking job and they're making mistakes. They're still learning the gist. They got to learn the ropes, right? There's only constructive criticism to be given to anybody who's still a little bit green in the space. But when you've lifted long enough, you know what you're doing, you get the gist, then what's your excuse for not trying to kill it on these sets? Or at least try to get better at it. And I don't mean for me to watch, I'm talking for you to do. I've done, I probably feel the proudest, honestly, of a lot of my squat sets where they weren't recorded. Because when I was so before I started posting any of these when I was in school, I was getting up to some like 5-plate squats, like 5-plate 25 squats. And I was new to squatting that much weight because I just kind of really started bulking up, getting stronger. Like, dude, it would make me anxious. I'm a bit more used to it now, so it doesn't give me that same nervousness. But like a heavy set of squats, I was actually like, not dreading, but it would make me a little nervous a couple days before, because sitting in front of that much weight, like it would really get me going. Like my heart would be pumping before I'd get really amped up for that set. And it's like, I'm in the gym at 1 a.m. in the morning, there's nobody in there. It's like, there's nobody watching. So I had a real purity to it, because I know I was just trying to kill it for me specifically. It's a little different now, because all these lifts, because I like documenting it now. I've really gotten into because I get to look back at every fucking lift I've done for almost the last 2 years now, and I can see how my training's adjusted. I get to see my form improving in different styles of sets, and I've made some pretty big changes to my training, which I think were all pretty positive. But before then, there is a certain I can't even. It's hard to even explain. But if it's just you, there's nobody else in the gym, and you've got a pretty daunting task in front of you, and then you kill it. I mean, you kind of just prove to yourself how much you want it, you know. So I'm a little spoiled now because I've got so these lifts have a fucking audience, right? So now I've got a couple extra sources of motivation. It's like, okay, I know you guys are watching. I don't want to give up too soon, right? I hope that motivation isn't too strong, but honestly, it is there a little bit. So if you're curious if I if I like recording these sets or not, I think I do like it, because now I get now I got to make sure I really push it. I've always got some eyes on me. But there really is a difference between the lifter who is working out like they're going pretty hard versus the guy who consistently steps it up. It's been a little while since I've really had to think this, or kind of had this moment, because I'm kind of on my game at this point. I mean, a lot of my lifts, I really am pushing it to a level where I'm satisfied with it. I know I'm, really trying to go hard. Like, my effort level is about right. But over the course of mainly the first 2-3 years, and then after that it would be a little more sporadic. But I'd have a moment where I'd be working out, I'd come home or whatever else, or maybe I watched a specific motivational edit or something, and there was some kind of external catalyst that really got me excited and amped. But I'd have step up moments where I'd have to kind of think to myself okay, I want to step it up here. I want to really start taking this seriously. I just did kind of a scrappy lift. Honestly, I wasn't even that pumped. Did I really go as hard as I could? I probably could have got 3 more in that set of bench. What am I doing here? Come on. And then after that sort of moment, come back stronger the next day, and now that's my new normal. So I really do think that's something to be thought about. And it's not really something you can do with anybody else watching or talking with you, because that's kind of fogging up your own sort of clarity of what you want to do specifically. It is worth a little bit of introspection. So next time it's just you're thinking about your training, you're watching a couple you look it up, I think it's Machiavelli Motivation. A lot of old school bodybuilding clips, like Dorian, Kevin Levrone, Tom Platz, everybody going nuts. Black and white music, edit speeches. If you're watching one of those, it's just you, there's nobody else around, and you want to start killing it with your training, you want to step it up even more than where you are now, and that is a good moment, because you can watch those and say, okay. Because if you've got that itch, and anybody who's a lifter does, where you want to fucking take this seriously, you want these sets to be as hard as you can go, because that's attainable, right? It's not like you have to be Usain Bolt to push yourself 100% on a set of pullovers or leg extensions or squats. 100% for you is still 100%. So if you want to be able to push yourself like that, I mean, it's just worth thinking about, because I get to look back at however long in my lifts, I'd say, dude, I mean, at this rate, kind of years. And apart from the ones where I had something tweaked, or my knee was tender, or I pulled my chest or something, I got to do just squeezing work. I want to be able to say that as long as everything's in order, as long as I'm strong, I'm fresh, all my joints feel good, and I can push it within reason, then I don't want to be able to say to myself, okay, I win easy. I don't want to have to look back at my workout and say, yeah, I wonder what I would look like if I actually tracked my macros these last couple of months. That would suck, because I want to be able to look back at all this stuff and know, okay, I really pushed it, and not delude myself into just saying it. And I think that's unfortunately the case for a lot of guys, where you can do the same thing as the dude next to you. You can do your lifts on the fucking regular, week to fucking week. I'm talking Monday, Friday, Saturday, or wait, what am I saying? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. So you can show up next to the same guys every week, do the same sets. Oh, you're both getting a pump, but your results can fucking differ extremely. Now that's where the argument of some guys well, it's a genetic thing, man. It's not a. Holy shit! Fucking Bobcat almost backed into me. But it's so that's where the argument of oh, it's all genetics, man. It's you just have a fast metabolism, bro. It's oh, dude, come on, man. We can't all fucking go that nuts. It's dude, all of those excuses can be boiled away if someone's circumstance is looked at objectively. The guy who hasn't been killing it, who hasn't, and I don't, by killing it, I mean just improving. I don't mean like training like an absolute demon on the regular. I mean like just working on improving. The guy who hasn't been pushing it or putting in effort or showing up consistently, if he doesn't get his gains, guess what? That's not a question. That's simply a result of the lack of input. But the issue is some of those guys are just, it's hard to say you're doing something wrong. And that's not anybody's fault. I mean, that's pretty classic. It's no fun to have to say it's like, yeah, I'm not where I want to be because I haven't done everything it took to get there. Yeah. That's no fun. It's so much easier to say, well, no, I can't even think of the excuses that these guys say because it doesn't even cross my mind. But there's always something. But behind that is the real reason, So if you can find those real reasons behind why you might be going a little easy on yourself, why you haven't been tracking your macros, you've been staying up a little later than you should, even though you know that you should go to sleep before 3 a.m. It's just try to think about it and think of just even small steps you can take to say, okay, I'm going to try to go to bed at midnight this week. Whoa, I feel pretty good, man. I feel kind of well rested. This is nice. I don't have to drink 3 monsters a day to stay awake. I don't have to I don't have to feel like I got to take a nap as soon as I get home. Well, that's cool. All right. Start drinking more than 1 liter of water. It's all of these things add up. But the trick to it is, it's not fun right in the beginning. You don't really get an immediate gratification from staying well hydrated 1 day in a row, or getting sleep, good sleep, 1 day in a row. But over time, those what's the word? I guess those rewards will show themselves. And gains wise especially. I'm not joking. The guy who sleeps, drinks, and by drinks I mean drinks fucking water. By drinks regular fluids, I'm not talking about drinking. Eats enough, is rested, his training is going to be way better. And frankly, his overall subjective enjoyment of life is going to be way better because you're just going to feel good in general. It's so much easier to approach things with like a reasonable, steady mind when you're well rested, you're not irritable because you're dehydrated and you have a headache all the time. Dude, the basics spread out into almost every aspect of what you're doing and just kind of overall improve little by little. It's hard to say like quality, like you're not going to wake up, you're not going to drink a liter of water right when you wake up and like you're suddenly ecstatic, but it's more so just the lack of negativity of like having a headache later, because now I'm just rambling. I could probably keep talking for like an hour at this point, but all I'm trying to say there, next time you have legs, and if you're watching this video, I hope you're actually interested in leg training, make sure you push it, because if you're already in the gym, you took your scoop of pre-workout, you got your gym clothes on, dude, every other box has been checked. The last one you got to do is play some fucking music and then go nuts. That's putting the X over that one. But either way, I'll see you for chest tomorrow, and I'm going to make sure I wake up early. I got to get on that sunrise kind of schedule. So that's my task for the rest of the week. But either way, I'll see you for chest tomorrow.